Thank you for joining today's webinar for organisers of AgShows and events. My name is Jodie Rosé O'Brien and I'm one of the EID implementation team at Primary Industries and Regions. It's my pleasure to introduce Julie Wedderburn to talk about AgShows and Events Essential Equipment Rebate. Julie has worked for PIRSA for over 10 years in various roles, including project management and coordination, policy advice and program delivery. For the past 18 months, Julie has been the project coordinator EID implementation in the Major Programs Division, working with biosecurity to support stage one of the EID implementation. Thanks, Julie.
Thanks, Jodie. Thanks, Tara, and thanks everyone for spending your Thursday evening with us. So I'll just spend a little bit of time running through our essential equipment rebate for ag shows and events. So we are opening, or we'll have our guidelines up on our website tomorrow, and that will be a good resource and point of information for more details to what I present tonight. So we are offering a 75% rebate for organisers of ag shows and events to purchase essential equipment to assist your reporting and recording obligations to notify them of movements of sheep and goats to the NLIS database within legal timeframes. So we'll have the guidelines up tomorrow on our website, and we will accept applications for a rebate until the 30th of June 2025. And another key date, which I will talk through in more detail on a later slide, is a needs analysis, which if you require equipment beyond a stick reader or wand, then you are able to submit a needs analysis outlining the additional equipment that you require to meet your obligations, and that will need to be submitted to PIRSA by no later than 30th of April 2025. So in terms of eligible equipment, everyone will have access to a stick reader or wand up to one maximum. It must be purchased on or after the 8th of June 2023. That is the date that the Minister came out and announced the state government funding and support for stage one implementation over a 2-year period. And important to note that we won't provide a rebate for second-hand equipment, so that is ineligible for the rebate. So if you're ag show or event organizer, if you require scanning equipment different to a stick reader or wand, then you may prepare and submit a needs analysis to PIRSA outlining the essential equipment requirements and providing the reasons why the essential equipment is required and how it will enable you to meet the recording and reporting obligations, and collating that information and putting it into the NLIS database. In terms of eligibility, so who can apply? The rebate is open to ag shows or events where there are movements of sheep or goats onto site. So that's important. And for example, animals may be brought onto premises for exhibition, for trials, sheepdog trials, shearing competitions or displays, farm animal nurseries or petting zoos, and animals used for equipment displays or demonstrations. So there's some examples, but essentially it's as an ag show or event organizer, where your event involves the movement of sheep or goats onto the site. Essentially, that is a key element for eligibility. Applicants must also be based in South Australia, must also have an active NLIS database user account registered to the organisation. The property that the ag show or event is being held on must have a showground PIC registered with PIRSA. And the applicant must hold an active ABN, be a legal entity capable of entering into a grant agreement with the Minister, and not have received funding from another South Australian or federal government program for the same activity. And it is a rebate, so you are required to purchase the equipment first, and then submit a rebate application form to PIRSA grants. And as part of that application form, we require an itemised list of the essential equipment, the purchase costs and official tax invoices. We require full evidence of payment, which can be a bank statement showing payment of the invoice. It can be a supplier invoice showing a zero balance. It can also be a bank lodgement receipt, including the payee, account name and account number, the invoice number of the supplier, the amount and the date. We will also ask you, as part of the application form, to sign, to have it signed by an authorised officer. So a signed authorisation, declaration and certification. And we will need some general information in relation to the applicant, including the legal entity name, the contact details and the ABN, the NLIS database user account ID of your organisation, the property address and local government area, and that's largely for our record keeping and statistics, and the banking details in the name of the rebate applicant, so that we can make payments into the bank account. And we will need you to provide the SA showground PIC number on which the event is being held. So just a quick snapshot of the key dates and process for submitting a rebate application. So I'd encourage you to have a look at the guidelines, which will be available on our PIRSA website from tomorrow. You will also be able to download a rebate application form from our website as well. So those two things together, have a look at those and consider if you meet all the eligibility criteria. If you do, you can go ahead and purchase a handheld reader or wand, or if the ag show or event organisers have purchased handheld reader or wand previously, but 8th of June 2023 onwards, and you already have that evidence of purchase and payment, you can use that as part of your application. So you'll need to gather all the evidence, which essentially is the purchase invoice and the proof of payment, and complete the application form and submit that to PIRSA by 30th of June 2025 to our grants inquiries email, which is on the slide there. And then in terms of the needs analysis, so if you think your ag show or event does require more than a handheld reader or wand, then we will have a needs analysis template. So please contact myself for a copy of that template. It's a couple of pages. We just need some of the basic information from you about your event, where it's held. Would like to understand the number of events and the premises, and also the showground PIC, and also how many sheep or goats are moved onto premises for each event and the timing of arrivals. And we will also ask you to provide a list of the essential equipment. That includes quotes if available, but that is optional. The location of scanning equipment at the premises, how that scanning equipment will be used, and how it will enable the ag show or events organisers to meet their regulatory obligations. So we just ask you for a bit of a explanation in relation to that, so we can understand how your request aligns with your sheep and goat movements onto the premises. So if you are thinking that you might need to prepare a needs analysis, then please have a look at the guidelines, which are available tomorrow. and consider what your equipment needs may be. It may be that you decide that no, you don't actually want to purchase equipment, and that you can access equipment through other means. Or you might identify that yes, you do need equipment other than a handheld reader. Please send an email then requesting a template to EID Sheep and Goat, and complete the template and submit that through to PIRSA, and we will undertake a technical review. After that technical review has been completed, you will receive a letter confirming the equipment that will be supported for the rebate, and that will give you some confidence then to proceed with the purchase of equipment. Once you've purchased the equipment, you will then need to submit a rebate application form with all the supporting documents by 30th of June 2025. And so just to reiterate, if you do intend to submit a needs analysis, we would like to receive those by no later than 30th of April 2025. And it's question time.
Hi, Julie. Thanks for the presentation. We've got a few questions that have come in. The first one is about if an organisation doesn't have an ABN.
Thanks, Jody. Yes, if a ag show or event organiser doesn't have an ABN, they can still submit a rebate application. So there is no need to have an ABN. However, the applicant will need to submit as part of their application a statement by a supplier not quoting an ABN. And this form is available from the ATO, and that relates to essentially to avoid withholding of tax. So that's the statement by a supplier not quoting an ABN.
Thank you. The next one is about if organisations are not registered for GST, are they able to submit an application?
Yes, if an ag show or event organiser is not registered for GST, they are able to submit a rebate application. So that certainly won't stop an ag show or event organiser being able to access a rebate.
Excellent. The next one follows the same sort of tune. What is a legal entity when they're entering into an agreement with the minister?
So yes, the applicant will need to enter into a agreement with the minister if they're successful with their funding. So yes, the applicant will need to be a legal entity to enter into that agreement. And for example, an ag show, an event may be known by a trading name, but essentially the event is run by an entity with a different name, which is likely to be the legal entity. So I think as an example, the Royal Adelaide Show is the trading name, and the legal entity would be the Royal Agricultural and Horticultural Society of South Australia Incorporated. So there'll probably be a similar number of examples in relation to ag shows and events that are held across South Australia, where they do have a trading name, but they will also likely have a legal entity that is a different name.
Excellent. A few more questions. One is about signing the declaration with the minister. So who's the authorised officers? Who might they be?
Thanks, Jody. Yes, as part of the application form, um, there is a declaration that must be signed by an authorised officer. So for an ag show or event organiser, an authorised officer will be one or more of the following, such as a president or a chairperson, a vice president, secretary, or treasurer. There's a range of people there that may be an authorised officer. And then for a company or business, an authorised officer would be someone like a director, a secretary, owner, or partner.
Thanks. And question here about if you've got two events on the same day, how can they submit a rebate application to cover each trial or event?
Yes. Yes. So I think with this case, it'd be probably a case by case basis. But for example, if an event organizer is undertaking trials on the same day at different locations across the state, and they've identified that they'll need more than one hand reader, um, I guess the question is, can they submit a separate rebate to cover each trial? So looking at the guidelines, it does outline that it's one application per event organizer. So if you have additional equipment needs, then you will need to consider submitting a needs analysis. And further details of the needs analysis are outlined in the guidelines, and they need to be submitted to PIRSA by 30th of April 2025. If your trial is run in conjunction with a field day or ag show, it will be the field day or ag show organizer that will be eligible to apply for a rebate. So you'll need to just consider the arrangements there in terms of, is your trial being run in conjunction with another event, and then it would be that event organizer or the ag show organizer that would be eligible to apply for a rebate.
Thanks, Julie. If people got any other questions about the essential equipment rebate, you can contact Julie. Her phone number's listed there, or flick an email through to her, and we'll get an answer through to you about the rebate. Thanks so much, Julie, for your time.
Thanks, Jody.